On the show in Wheelspin, we drive the Mercedes GLA class. In Wheelspin, we ride the recently launched Triumph Thunderbird LT. And on the road, we drive the Hyundai Grand i10 from Bangalore to Mysore. If you like SUVs, there is plenty of good news for you. There's another one coming your way. The GLA from Mercedes-Benz. We had the first glimpse of this car during the Auto Expo in New Delhi in the earlier part of the year, but now it's time for it to hit the Indian road. What I really like about the GLA is the styling. In fact, in recent times, most of the cars that have rolled out of the Mercedes assembly line have been quite attractive, and the GLA here follows suit. Beautiful headlamps with daylight running lights, a bit of chrome, sloping bonnet, and the stance of the car makes it a proper SUV look-alike. But hold on, it's still not there as an SUV because it lacks one thing, the 4x4. The GLA is a compact SUV from Mercedes-Benz based on a new platform. Sandwiched in between its two products, the compact A-Class and the baby sedan, the C-Class, the GLA is expected to provide a choice to all those who want a vehicle with a prestige mark but don't want a sedan at the same time. The GLA, as the tagline suggests, always restless, is meant for people who are looking for something beyond the ordinary. The GLA will share your sense of adventure, and with its high ground clearance and the SUV stance, and will take you far beyond where regular sedans will. The GLA might not come with a 4x4, but it actually makes up for that in more than one ways. To begin with, if you look at it, no matter which angle you look at this car, you find her absolutely gorgeous looking. Look at the rear part, the beautifully sculpted tail lights, a strip of chrome here. And if you look down, you see the skid plates with dual silencers. And the dual silencers tell you something: power. The car does not lack power, and this qualifies it somewhat as an SUV. Add to that a high ground clearance. The GLA might be a small compact SUV, but it's crafted in true Mercedes style with an eye on detail. The finish and the build quality is impeccable, and it's loaded with all creature comforts. The compact size ensures that you can not only drive this in our crowded cities and easily find a parking spot, but also ensures that it's easy to drive and fuel efficient. At the same time, a high ground clearance of 183 mm will encourage you to take it off the beaten path as well. The first thing that you notice after you start driving the GLA is that the handling is very unlike an SUV. The car stays very planted, there is no body roll, and in fact it makes you feel that you are almost behind the wheel of a sedan rather than an SUV in spite of the tall stance. The ground clearance is 183 mm, very much like an SUV, and this is what gives you a lot of confidence. The GLA will be sold with both the diesel and the petrol engines as to be expected. It is the petrol engine which is the smaller of the two at 2 liters. But surprisingly, it delivers a whole lot more power than the diesel unit. The peak power output for the petrol engine is 182 brake horsepower, and as compared to the diesel, it's a whole lot more because the diesel only manages about 136 brake horsepower. But it is in terms of the torque where both the engines are identical at 300 Newton meters. But again, even in terms of the torque, is the petrol engine which scores, because the torque is delivered much earlier in the rev band. So if you're looking for fun drive, a power-packed, performance-oriented drive, is the petrol engine for you without a doubt. But it's the diesel, obviously, which will give you a whole lot more fuel efficiency. Overall, I think the GLA offers a nice alternative to buying a sedan because it has inherent strengths like a high ground clearance, a powerful engine, comes with a diesel as well, an automatic gearbox. So on an everyday basis, you will find this a useful vehicle as well as for an occasional run out of town. The GLA is a front-wheel drive car, and in India the GLA will ride on 18-inch wheels as opposed to the 17-inch globally, and comes with all safety features like ABS, EBD, hill ascent control, traction control and class-leading 7 airbags. If the exteriors of this GLA is what impressed you and then you want to step inside, then I'm sure what you will see here will certainly come up to your expectations. Because the GLA here is not just an SUV, it's a luxury premium SUV. That's how it's positioned. And Mercedes here is very, very clear that they want to give you everything that's top of the line. And that's what they have done. Consequently, the feature list is very, very long. But what I can tell you is that the build quality and the aesthetics are also truly Mercedes. So what you get actually is a car which is very, very well made, feels solid and looks good too. The interiors are well crafted and come with all the frills you associate with brand Mercedes. Harman Kardon sound system, a panoramic sunroof which comes with rain sensors and closes automatically in case of rain, a TFT display and an attractive instrumentation cluster. The GLA, in spite of its compact size, still offers enough luggage space, and the rear seats are foldable. While the boot space is 421 litres, it more than doubles up to 1235 litres, and this will come in really handy on a camping trip if you are carrying your gear. The GLA measures in at about 4.4 meters and the wheelbase is almost 2.7 meters, which means this. Plenty of knee room here, lots of head space, and the shoulder room too is generous. And the seats here are wrapped in quality leather and they are very, very comfortable, and the seating position is also high, so you get a nice view of the surroundings. On top of that, you get a panoramic sunroof as well. All very well. But what bothers me is that in India, we are used to packing in our cars with people and luggage. And if you do happen to think of putting a third person here on the rear seat, then give it a second thought, because that's going to be a rather tight squeeze. Mercedes intends it to be for two, and it's strictly for two. After driving this GLA, what I can tell you is this. This is one vehicle which will provide a nice, viable alternative to buying a sedan. It has everything that you might need on a regular car, a long list of features, lots of space, high ground clearance, and good looking too. On top of that, she drives well also. But the detractors might say that she doesn't come with a 4x4. True, but my question is, how many Indians actually buy a premium SUV and then go off-roading? Very few maybe, and if you don't happen to be one of them, then you will find this a very adequately equipped car. But if not, then you will have to wait till the time Mercedes launches a 4x4. The GLA, like all other Mercedes products, will have a premium pricing, with the diesel variant, which is available in two trims, Style and Sport, respectively costing Rs 32.75 lakhs and Rs 36.9 lakhs. The petrol will be available in only one variant, Sport, costing Rs 36 lakhs. Mercedes is offering a 2-year standard warranty on the GLA, which is extendable by 1 year. And Mercedes claims that they have received over 600 bookings in just over 2 weeks. Coming up next, in Wheelspin, we ride the recently launched Triumph Thunderbird LT. And on the road, we drive the Hyundai Grand i10 from Bangalore to Mysore. If I've got my helmet here and putting on my riding gloves, then obviously it means I'm going riding. But let me tell you, I'm going riding on something very, very nice today. But before I tell you what it is, let me make you guess. I'm going to cover the name and make you wonder what this is. Chances are you will come back and say this is the Harley Road King. No, it's not. This is the Triumph. Okay, it's a look-alike, and if you are a Harley fan, chances are you will call it a Harley first and then a Triumph later, and vice versa if you're a Triumph fan. But nevertheless, this is one nice motorcycle which Triumph just launched last week, and this is their 12th motorcycle on offering in India. The LT Thunderbird, as Triumph calls this machine, is derived out of its somewhat smaller cousin, the Triumph Storm, with which it shares the platform and the motor. But where it differs is in terms of its styling. The LT is a bike with unabashed big bike design and is set to attract with its styling. If Triumph had something missing in their India lineup, then it was the presence of a big cruiser bike. But now with the launch of this Thunderbird LT here, they seem to have filled the gap. This is one bike which really looks inviting for a long highway cruise with comfortable seats, 2 panniers on either sides to carry what you need for an overnight stay, a big nice tank, a powerful engine and lots of chrome to give it that big bike presence. The LT might look big and a bit intimidating at first sight, but as you engage gear and start rolling, it becomes quite easy to ride, and what helps it do so is an extremely comfortable riding position. The handle, the controls are quite ergonomically positioned and easy to reach, and the padded seats are extremely comfortable, especially if you are on a long ride. And the foot pegs, or more aptly, I should call them footboards, are positioned aft to provide that typical cruiser riding position. And the LT is sure to get its share of attention with its massive presence. The Thunderbird LT here is powered by a 1699cc parallel twin engine which churns out 151 Newton meters of torque and about 94 PS of max power. And if you look at the size of this bike here, you might be inclined to believe that this is a bit too less. But actually it's not, because when you go cruising on the highway, you soon realize that the power delivery is very, very linear and the engine is very smooth and refined. So actually it's good fun to go cruising on this bike. I have been quite impressed with the Triumph engines lately. They had all turned out to be refined and extremely eager to churn out the power. And in this sense, the LT is different. The engine continues to be smooth, but it is not an overeager motor you have on board. It's much more relaxed, and at the twist of the throttle, the engine does deliver enough, but it's more in the cruiser style than that of a manic performer. And if you're riding a cruiser, then you certainly are not aiming to breach the sound barrier. So it's adequate, and I personally like the feel of the motor with its calm and reassuring delivery and the note of the exhaust. What I do not like, however, is the positioning of the instrumentation, again in typical cruiser fashion, on the petrol tank, because you have to take your eyes off the road in case you want to have a close look, especially at the trip or the odo, plus the fact that it's very basic. If info overload is bad, then lack of it is no good either. The engine is mated to a 5-speed box, and I feel compared to the other Triumphs I had ridden lately, in this LT the gear shifting is not as smooth, but the gearing is tall, so it doesn't necessitate too many frequent changes in case you are caught in city traffic. If you're looking for a big cruiser to go long distance cruising in, then I think this Thunderbird LT should do the job very, very well. It has everything that you might need in a cruiser. It has got a lot of street presence. She's really big and nice and shiny. Lots of power coming from the engine, and the seats here are very, very comfortable. And the riding position too is nice, so you can go cruising without getting really tired easily. In fact, this is one bike which begs to be ridden and ridden long distance. On top of that, the pricing too is very, very attractive, because what the competition offers you is much higher than this. So you do well to have a look at this if cruiser, a big cruiser I should say, is what you have in mind. Where the Triumph distinctly has an edge over the competition is in terms of pricing. It is rather attractively priced at Rs 15.75 lakhs ex-showroom Delhi, and for a cruiser this size, it sure sounds reasonable. And considering that with this Triumph you are not only riding a big machine, but you are also riding modern technology, this is not a bad deal at all.
I'm in Bangalore, a city that provides plenty of opportunity for road trips. There's so many beautiful places in Karnataka and in Tamil Nadu within driving distance from here. So over the next few days, I'm going to be visiting several interesting destinations. First of all, I'm heading to Mysore, a city famous for its palaces and for its significant role in South Indian history. Then I'm going to drive further south, but that's for later. Time for me to get going and make my first stop in Mysore. What I'm going to be driving today is an ideal car for a holiday. So it's no surprise that the Hyundai Grand i10 has been a hit ever since its launch. Even though it's compact on the outside, it's really comfy and spacious on the inside. And it's a car that's packed with cool features. It has rear AC vents, a reverse parking sensor, and a multi-function button steering wheel, which means that I don't have to lift my fingers off the wheel to change the radio station, for example, while driving. Now, speaking of music, the stereo system is great and it comes equipped with a Bluetooth connectivity that allows you to hear your favorite tracks from your phone. It's just perfect for a long drive.
The 140-kilometer drive takes around 4 hours to complete, largely because it takes a while to get out of Bangalore itself. But once you've left the city traffic behind, the 4-lane Bangalore-Mysore Expressway, or SH17, makes the rest of the drive a breeze.
The Grand i10 is powered by a petrol engine, a 1.2-litre Kappa engine which peaks out at 83 PS. That's actually pretty healthy for a small compact like this. Now, the rear wipers and the fog lamps are such useful features in hilly terrain like this, particularly if you're driving in the monsoon. And of course, it's an absolute breeze to drive on the highway. With all of these features, it's also a lot of fun.
As we get there, let me run you through a little bit of Mysore's history. Mysore was initially a vassal state of the Vijayanagar dynasty, but by the 17th century it became a sovereign state, ruled primarily by the Wodeyar dynasty till the latter half of the 18th century when Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan came into power. Then, after the Anglo-Mysore Wars, the kingdom became beholden to the British Crown. With this rich and diverse amalgamation of cultural presences, Mysore is widely considered Karnataka's cultural capital.
After a smooth and scenic drive, I've reached Mysore, and of course my first stop had to be the Mysore Palace. It's also called the Amba Vilas Palace, and it was the seat of the Wodeyar Maharajas, so it's one of India's most lavish examples of royal architecture. Now, the palace was actually gutted by fire in 1897. So what you see here is what was reconstructed in 1912 by the British architect Henry Irwin. And the architectural style can be described as Indo-Saracenic because it combines Hindu, Muslim, Gothic and Rajput elements. Now, I'm looking forward to walking around the palace grounds. So let's go.
The interior of the palace is a swirl of stained glass, mirrors and rich colors, further embellished by carved wooden doors, mosaic floors and a series of paintings depicting life in Mysore during the Edwardian Raj. And if you're intrigued by weapons, you should make sure you check out the Armory, which has over 700 swords, guns, spears, and all kinds of other grisly stuff. Unfortunately, photography inside the palace is prohibited, so you have to take my word for it.
A trip to Mysore would be incomplete without a visit to the beautiful Vrindavan Gardens. They're located around 19 kilometers from the city centre, and it's just the perfect way to while away an afternoon amidst the flowers and the fountains. I highly recommend a visit.
The garden is laid out in 3 terraces which comprise several large old trees and beautifully landscaped plants and flowers. The main attraction of the park are its fountains. Every evening between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m, bursts of water are synchronized to music and lit up in different colors in an elaborate sound and light show.
For architecture buffs, Mysore has no dearth of special buildings and monuments. I'm here visiting St. Joseph's Cathedral, more popularly known as St. Philomena's Church. Now, this is one of South India's oldest and largest churches, and it's emblematic of the neo-Gothic style of architecture, with its pointed arches and its stained glass windows. After a morning full of sightseeing, you really develop an appetite. So I suggest you make the most of the delicious South Indian cuisine available here. Now, I've decided to have a South Indian thali, and I'm so hungry after spending so much time in the sun. It really gets very hot in the afternoons in Mysore, so I suggest that after lunch you just take a long nap and wake up in time to check out the markets at night. That's exactly what I have planned. So I'm going to try and dig into this paratha, or as they call it here, parota. I'm sure it's delicious. If Mysore is magnificent in the daytime, it's also just dazzling at night. Particularly during Dasera, when all the heritage buildings and the whole marketplace is just lit up from head to toe with lights. There's thousands of light bulbs and the place starts to feel like Disneyland. And if you're into shopping, it's great to come check out Devraja Market at night, because all the stores are open till late and they get this shine in the night because of all the illumination. I've had such a fun time looking at the jewelry stores particularly, and I found these lovely bangles among other things. And if you're looking for anything really, you can find it here, from incense to buckets to bags. I mean, you name it and it's going to be here. Flowers, fruit. It's crazy. It's really an overwhelming place. So I'm actually going to go check out some more of the stores now. Mysore is full of things to do and places to see. There's more than enough for a weekend itinerary. rich with natural, cultural and culinary experiences. And it's been such fun to drive the Grand i10 around here. But I'm already set for my next destination, which is going to be Ooty. I look forward to another beautiful drive. See you next week.